Hey everyone, welcome and welcome back to Leadership Unveiled. I'm Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt and I'm your host. And today is the 5th day of the 12 Days of Leadership. I'm glad you're here back for another episode. Today we're going to be talking about how to get a lot done in a shorter amount of time. And I'm going to be sharing a challenge that I do with myself to help myself be more productive. So I know you all said when I polled you on my Instagram. If you haven't followed me on there, please do it. It's at KFA Consulting. I did a poll and I know one of the big buckets you wanted to hear about was like how to organize your life and just kind of planning and organization. So this is one of the first episodes on that. The previous 4 were more on mindset and strategy. And so if you missed those, go back to those. If you're on YouTube, there's a playlist called the 12 Days of Leadership. If you're on the podcast app, you can scroll back and the previous episodes will live there permanently, as well as there'll be a link in the show notes for my website. If you click the podcast tab on my website, all the old episodes will come back and the 12 episodes will be there for you. So thank you again for joining. If you're on YouTube and you have not subscribed, this is your sign. The universe has said, please subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So let's help me reach that goal. And also, if you subscribe, like the video, and turn notifications on, that helps the YouTube algorithm show this to other people as well. If you're on the pod, thank you for listening. Make sure that you subscribe on any podcast app that you're listening to. And if you're on Spotify, you should actually be able to see this video because Spotify shows video podcasts too. So that's pretty cool. Please leave me a rating and review on the podcast apps. So that also helps the algorithm share the app and share the episode out to other people who might be listening. All right, everybody, let us dive into today's topic, which is productivity and how to get more done with less time. So the first thing I want to share with you, and maybe you've heard it before, is Parkinson's law. So if you don't know what this law is called, I bet you've heard the adage. It's the notion that work expands to fill the time that we give it. Basically, the time that we allow ourselves to complete a task, our work will expand to fill it. And so if you Google Parkinson's law, there comes up a ton of different graphs if you look at the images. Basically, effort is along the y-axis and then time allocated is along the x-axis, right? And so you've got basically, if you're going to complete something in a short amount of time, it takes more effort. If you're going to allow more time, it takes less effort. In theory, right? In theory. But what I find is that if we give ourselves more time, then we just basically procrastinate, or it's kind of makes us like not love the idea afterwards, right? We've been working on it for so long, we kind of fall out of love with whatever work we're doing. Or maybe it's actually high effort in the end because we're up against a deadline. So now we give ourselves an even shorter amount of time needed to do it than we originally had, right? And now the effort is like exponentially higher than what we would have had if we had done the thing earlier, right? Like now it's a hard deadline. So I want to ask you, think about during this episode as you're listening, where are you giving yourself more time? And here's the thing, disclaimer, I have had seasons of my life where I need to be like more slow with myself, more gentle with myself. The instances I can think of are number 1, during the beginning of COVID. Number 2, when I had my kids, right? When I was during maternity leave or shortly after I came back to work after having my kids, right? But like right now, I'm kind of in a season of let's do the thing. Like that's where I'm at. So if you're there, come with me. If you're not and you need to be a little bit more slow about it, it's cool. But when it comes to work things and being a professional, like there's no getting around needing to complete your work. Like you will have to get it done. And with competing priorities and multiple different tasks and projects we're working on, we need a strategy to help us get our work done in a timely way, right? So this is what I want to help you with. So Parkinson's law, the adage or the notion that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. So where are you giving yourself too much time? So I want to talk about having a daily plan and then how Parkinson's law fills into this. So this is my daily plan. I'm showing it for those watching on YouTube. Okay, here we go. Again, I'm terrible at lining it up with the screen, so I hope you can see this. But essentially, I have the hours of the day, and then I have intentions, I have my leave happy tasks, and I have to recognize or thank. So this template can be found on my website. If you click on my shop, you'll find everything there. my shop's called the Leader Toolkit, but it's also, I'll link everything in the description and in the show notes if you want to check it out. It's part of my Leader Standard workbook, but I also sell a digital copy, and I also sell you can purchase a pre-punched physical pages that I will ship to you for the daily plan. And so leave happy tasks. I've talked about this before on the podcast and my YouTube channel, but essentially back when I first started in my role, I was creating my Leader Standard work and I felt overwhelmed because I had this huge list of things to do. And so I started to think about what would make me feel successful. And it was basically being able to chip away at my list, knowing that things were going to be added to it, but making sure that every day I prioritize something that was going to move the needle for me or move my work forward. And so it was birthed the Leave Happy Tasks, basically the post-it note method, which essentially is that only 1 to 3 things can fit on that small space. So could I plan for intentionally 1 to 3 things per day that were going to move my work intentionally forward, and that I could feel successful every day, or I could leave happy or leave my work happy if I checked those things off. So that's how Leave Happy Task was created. And so during the day, when I do my time blocking, I'll schedule time on my calendar to work on 1 to 3 of these things, whatever I have planned. And I'll plan based off of my larger master to-do list, basically things that are most urgent, things that are coming up, or things that are strategic goals and projects that I need to focus on weekly or monthly to be able to meet those performance appraisal goals and just meet goals I've set for myself throughout the year. So that's how I prioritize. And of course, different things pop up throughout the days or the weeks. And then I kind of use that same decision-making model. Like, is this very urgent? Is it more important than other things? Will this move my work forward? Or is it something only I can do, right? So that's how I operate in my day. One thing I noticed though with my direct reports or people that I coach or myself is that I will give myself, we might give ourselves, let's say 2 hours to work on something, and really it might not take that long. So there's been sort of an experiment that I've been able to do with myself and with others where you time block an amount of time on your calendar and you see how long it takes to get done. And I found that when I have minimal time, like let's say I have a fully booked day with meetings, but there are things that like I have to get done, like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, like they're due today, I can get them done in a very, very short amount of time because it's essentially be putting in a high amount of effort, being up against the clock, there's pressure, and that's literally all the time I have, right? And so my work filled the time I gave it, which was, let's say 25 minutes, right? Like between meetings versus like an hour or 2 hours. So does it feel good to operate like this all the time? No, but can I? Yes. So if you have big lofty goals and you just want to kick yourself in the booty and say, I've got to get this stuff done, it's amazing. You can get so much done in a little amount of time. Now, granted, it also depends like how much prep time you've had or how much you've been thinking about a task, but be real with yourself. Does it really take you like 4 hours to get something done? So I find this pitfall happening over and over again where people will tell me, I just don't have enough time. There's not enough hours in the day. And while I totally understand, sometimes I believe that, actually, if you wanted to get the thing done, you probably could make it done with enough willpower and moving around your schedule and just like gunning it, like going for it, right? So again, we're not always in these seasons, but if there's important, urgent work to do, you can totally do it. So beyond the point of like giving yourself like 15 minutes for like a crazy huge task, let's just say something reasonable. Like say you schedule yourself 1 or 1.5 hours to work on a task, but you find yourself not working on the thing or like kind of like searching Google or like in your email or very distracted, like not down to the task. Then you want to ask yourself some questions like, is this not as urgent as something else? So I'm kind of just not doing it. I'm kind of procrastinating. Is it not important as something else? And the thing that I'm doing is more important and really that should be my focus. Or maybe I just don't want to do it for whatever reason. Do I need to reframe the story I'm telling myself about this thing, right? Do I not like it because of a past experience or some feedback that I have been given? Or is it just like too monotonous that I don't enjoy it? Like, what is the story you're telling yourself about it? Or maybe it's the time of day or the energy flow that you're giving the thing, right? Like maybe in the morning you're a task master. You're like, I got that. You're like a ninja in the morning, right? And then at 2 p.m., I'm talking about me, you guys. 2 p.m., you're like a slug. You're like an amoeba. You're just like, yeah. Right? Like 2 p.m. might not be when I want to have the most willpower or discipline, let's say, to get something important done. Can I do something at 2 p.m.? Absolutely. 100%. I will do it. I will get it done. Do I want to be doing that? No. Right? So maybe you think about, okay, why am I not getting this thing done? And if you think it's a time of day/energy balance or flow thing, swap it to a different day or time and see if that helps it. So that's really my main challenge for you guys. This is kind of a shorter episode today, but remember Parkinson's law, the notion that work expands to fill the time that you give it. And where are you giving yourself too much time? Like, be honest. Are you procrastinating and are you using your daily time blocking and plan the best that you can? Or are you just kind of like putting it on the calendar and hoping it will happen? If you are procrastinating, really go through and look like, is this something I wouldn't want to do? Try to reframe the story for yourself. Maybe you don't understand the why and you need to seek more information in order to be motivated. Maybe it's not as urgent, it's not as important, and it shouldn't be on your calendar. Figure that out so then you can get more stuff done in a shorter amount of time. You absolutely have got this. You can do this. I believe in all of you. And I also believe that you will accomplish everything you want to, and there will still be time for you to rest and to celebrate. All right, everybody, thank you for joining me for day 5 of the 12 Days of Leadership and being here on the Leadership Unveiled podcast. Be sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications if you haven't already, or leave me a review on the podcast app. I would so enjoy it. And if you're on YouTube, please comment. Let me know what you think. Like, is this too extreme? Is it exactly the kick in the booty that you needed? Let me know. I'm curious to see if this is helpful for everybody. All right, I will see you tomorrow for day 6. Talk to you soon. Bye.